Do you know why? Do you know why?
Yes,
it is because the water levels have gone down.
Exactly.
But that dam was built on a natural edge of the lake.
Yes.
That whenever water comes, it flows down. And it can never stop.
But explain that a little bit.
Because that lake is just a basin.
Yes.
And it receives water from other
there was a fall, there was Ripon Falls at that place, yes, which was very steep. So they built the dam downstream to create a buffer. So when the water piled up, there was actually a fall there, up, what they call the source of the Nile.
Yes. So
now when they built, the water levels went up, and what used to flow on the other side was actually an overflow.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. That's when you are producing energy, hydropower energy, you use an overflow.
Yes. No, you don't use an overflow. You use guided water. There was a reservoir on this side. You can use guided water. The turbines are down.
You use overflow.
I think we are deviating from the point of the energy crisis and discussing dams and how they're going to
Simon Dujanga here tonight. Mr. Bamwine, let's talk about why is the why maybe before we leave that, why are MPs not releasing money for this?
Because
there's a crisis.
We don't have the value for money.
Oh.
I think so.
The factories shut down, prices go up, inflation goes up.
Edmond, if I may,
as far as I'm concerned,
where does it go?
As far as I'm concerned, I think MPs are doing their noble job.
Blocking this money for the generators?
Not blocking. They are asking, can you give us accountability?
For what?
That's not the problem. And as far as Parliament is concerned, it's doing its job.
Okay.
Therefore, the area Minister of Energy presents accountability. The area Parliament approves this.
There was a research. There was a research carried out by Salim Saleh, and that report was settled. Should we have it on the table on the floor of Parliament?
When we're talking of energy prices, me actually go even deeper. I am one of those who still believe in socialism.
Not communism. It's easier to identify communism. Just say I'm a communist. It's easier.
I am one of those who don't support.
Welcome to the club.
Who did not support liberalization of the energy sector.
Yes.
Because it's very dangerous.
Thank God that water was never liberalized.
To hand over
I don't know what
the energy sector or the entire economy in private hands. This person or individuals or companies can choose to sabotage the whole country.
True.
I am one of those who believe, because I have studied the other economies of the world, some key sectors of the economy don't just...
Not even key sectors. South Africa still has a company called Transnet. It's a logistics company and it's partly owned by government.
As far as I'm concerned,
state-owned enterprise.
As far as I'm concerned, some key sectors of the economy must
be managed by government.
Be run by government, because government does not
has a social interest.
Has a social responsibility of looking after it.
Edmond, two things.
Parliament needs doing a good job to demand for accountability.
Most times we are lambasting Parliament, and I think in this matter we got to applaud Parliament. Because the previous supplementary budget had a huge chunk allocated to the energy sector.
Yes.
Less than 4 months ago, we gave the energy sector millions of shillings. Billions of shillings. I think about $6 million. What happened to that money? How, in the space of 4 months, have we got to a state where we need more money?
That's not too much.
To produce more energy.
You need about 44 billion.
That's a genuine question. That's a genuine question.
The Parliament is asking one issue. Can you give this accountability? If it was used efficiently, fine. Let them provide how that money was used.
To Edmond, we've got to check physical indiscipline across the board, not just in the energy sector. Yes, that monies that are given to sectors must be accounted for and must be used properly. What we are doing is essentially subsidizing the money of the energy sector for failing to collect their bills.
Okay. So
secondly, I think the more fundamental question is the commission of inquiry that was commissioned by the president. He appointed his brother, Saleh. He came up with a beautiful report, recommendations. These recommendations have been ignored.
So our resolution tonight as we move to another topic is let that report be shown in Parliament.
Not just that, but let that report be discussed. Let the merits of it.
You bring it in Parliament, they discuss it.
Yes.
And move forward.
And also secondly, we must begin to account for monies that people get from our coffers.
For the first time I'm agreeing with Mr. Bamwine.
Yes. Because it becomes
I agree with him that some, especially sectors in the utility provision.
Even others, not just utility.
They must not be privatized.
Maybe
that is water, that is electricity, that is health and education. Government must remain.
Even agriculture, Europe still subsidizes its farmers. Maybe we'll talk about liberalization another time. Let's talk about the state of the economy, Mr. Mayanja. We have been having strikes. Taxi drivers have went on strike. Teachers say they want more salaries. You don't know what they have up their sleeves. What do you say about this? The manufacturers said they might also go on strike. We had the traders shutting their shops for the first time in 15 years. What do you think is happening here?
For the first time in 15 years?
Since 1996, I think the traders shut their shops. 96. September 96.
Okay. But anyway, I think this is just indicative of the general trend in the economy. That when we are saying that, when the peasants were saying that, you know what, this thing is real hard. And we cannot afford some of the things. We cannot afford sugar. We cannot afford transport. Some of these other guys couldn't believe.
Oh, when you walk to work.
Oh, and some people even decided to walk to work. That, well, let's walk to work because we can't afford.
This time you had walk to work, there was no chaos. Life went on.
Because the government couldn't really interfere with the strike. And if they did the other time, it wouldn't. But it is the general trend.
The economy is in a quagmire, I suppose.
Yes and no. One, of course, this is a global issue. Once we opened up part of the global one, we expect this. But my personal analysis is about three. One, we have a problem in the government. We have not yet designed the method of explaining to the population of the events early enough. Government normally comes out and reacts. And that's not a good way. I've talked to the Minister of Information. We must have packaged ourselves better.
What do you? The government is doing reactive PR instead of doing proactive PR.
True. As the economy, I was discussing this. I didn't know that we were going to discuss this question about an hour ago. I was telling somebody, and somebody who went to school, we must go back on the time. One, there were two economies in the world before: command economy and capitalism. Yes. First, command economy collapsed. Now, capitalism has collapsed. Yes. That means the two theories no longer do what? Apply.
Yes. In their absolutism.
Yes. As far as I'm concerned, Uganda, that we have a comparative advantage in agriculture, I think we need to be, can I call it, we must apply affirmative action.
In this agriculture sector.
We say in the next financial year, half of the economy will put it in agriculture. Malawi did it.
Absorption capacity.
No, why I'm saying it, because we are lucky that we have our neighbors, we have the region, we have the globe which has no food. When here we have the capacity to produce this food. Because even if other commodities increase, but once the population has food, once the country has food, and our neighbors also, and the continent wants to our food, it will be one of the cash crop. It can be also food crop. I think we must readjust ourselves and think differently. Otherwise, this economy of IMF and World Bank cannot take us anywhere.
Of course,
and I have when you look at Malaysia, Malaysia they use it to appoint, they say Mayanja, the Minister of Industry this year. We are giving you 4 years. 25 industries. If they are not there,
it goes wrong.
So we need to adapt those kind of techniques.
Yeah, and of course we need to be able to measure our economy. We can't.
No, I think we have money, but we are not using it efficiently.
Kenya is importing maize.
There is a lot of waste
from South Africa.
I wish I had an opportunity. I will tell you what you need to do.
Kenya is importing maize from South Africa. Why should they go to South Africa?
I'm involved in poultry production.
Yes.
I can tell you, all of us who are in poultry farming,
you can't get maize.
For the last 2 months, all of us, we are making losses.
Because you don't have maize.
Because people are exporting whole grain maize. And we are.
Let me just take my pitch on this.
The Kenyan dairy industry and poultry is depending on Uganda. When Ugandans cannot support their own. So we need to be really serious and be affirmative, and we make sure that
if I may take my pitch on this, I think that we are living in difficult economic times. Our hope was that these economic crises could, as other countries have done, be addressed by our government head on.
But the president said,
I think what happened is that our national budget focused on long-term goals of building fundamentals of our economy, but did not address the immediate short-term issues that bedevils this country. I think we need to do that as soon as yesterday. Secondly, what is worrying me is the continuous trend of strikes and demonstrations and protests. It began with lawyers. It went to other sectors.
Yes,
it went. We did.
Go on. They did.
We actually suspended work for about 5 days.
Why not a month?
You did. Go on.
Other sectors actually caught on. Casita, now you have teachers, you have traders, you have
Manufacturers also.
manufacturers, you have drivers, So the entire country seems to think that there is something bad and that they're not being listened to. I think government needs to react quickly and address the fundamentals. And address it in a way that is cross-cutting, not just for a particular sector. Because if you do it for one sector, the next sector will actually also cut on.
Very briefly, we've got some views from the listeners. I'll read them out before we go. The Utoda KCCA saga, Mr. Mayanja, the executive director says there's a contract with Utoda. She can't really produce it. What's going on?
well, I don't want to be dragged into the KCCA thing, but my views would be that first of all, everybody should do their job. Let Utoda do their job and do it well.
They should be given another contract, another up?
No, if they have the contract, that is. If they don't have
this lady
the contract,
cannot produce that contract, they've given a
if it is not there, then let them advertise
give her the due respect. Don't call her this lady. She's the executive director.
She's a lady. I didn't call her a woman. Mr. Bamwine.
No, but you see, if there's somebody that is happy with what is taking place, is you. For the last 10 years,
happy?
Yes.
Go on.
For the last 10 years, I have been fighting in this cases. Land grabbing, appropriating funds. All these things have been happening. But of course, we didn't have a guided law. I'm happy that there is a law in place. However, it may not be fine-tuned enough, but at least we have something guiding us. I think what is missing now, because I went and met the executive director of cases. Yes. And she said, as far as I'm concerned, I'm supposed to be guiding the council. And I have talked to my mayor. First come and discuss on how we are going to do it. You cannot go to a meeting and demand and say, bring this.
So the communication between the two,
that's the problem.
Is not good.
Because what she's saying, let us have a meeting and then because the KCCA are implementing the app. These are policies.
They pass the policy. So they are the bosses, the politicians.
So what is missing now is the talking environment. That they can work in the same direction. Well, they all the same language. She's saying, I'm not allowed an organization that is misappropriating this standard. I think also that's what the council is saying.
In a newspaper interview about her relationship with the mayor, she says, not bad. That's what you expect of a public.
It's not bad in the sense she's doing her duty as executive director
and ignoring the mayor.
And not ignoring as such, but they need to work together.
This is good.
Edmond, KCC doesn't belong to the Lord Mayor, doesn't belong to Madame OCC, it belongs to us, the common people who use this city. I think it is all our interest that the business of the city is run well. That the problems that bedevil the city under Sevagala, under Sevana, and wherever it is, should be addressed and addressed now. I'm also happy, Edmond, to mention that we need to have some transparency. The access to information law has been passed. The regulations have been made. If these contracts cannot be put to public to see, we are going to court to demand these documents for us to see. We are stakeholders here.
In Kenya, they've opened a website which has ostensibly all public government, all government documents. I'll read out some text messages. I must thank you for sending in these messages tonight. One of them says, the government of Uganda only think of her ministers and MPs' welfare, but not the masses. That is why they don't take people's cries to them as important. Somebody else says, my prayer is that Bamwine is caught by the same law in the future, just like Mayanja in the 60s. Spectrum, Josephine Tinda says, let us not forget Iwenjira's detention without trial. God should prevail. That's Josephine Tinda. James in Mutungo says, Nicholas needs to know that in America, capital offenses are not bailable, yet they are the fountain of democracy. In fact, in America, they treat suspects very, very badly.
That is false. That is false. The 8th Amendment guarantees under the U.S. Constitution and protects personal liberty and the freedom, presumption of innocence, and the right to access bail.
But the people who were arrested in 2001, arrested in 9/11, have never been sentenced.
And in America, they treat him very bad. I've seen Manuel Noriega, the way he's been treated. We have to go right now. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed to our guest, Mr. Nicholas Opiyo,
the U.S. Constitution. You have in that guest.
Mr. Nicholas Opiyo, legal consultant at AKIJUL, political and social affairs commentator. Thank you for coming on Spectrum tonight. Tonight, for the first time, you sounded a little bit like a politician, maybe 2%, but for the first time. Mr. Fred Bamwine, former Nakawa Division RDC, also from the NRM Communications Bureau. Thank you for coming over. Mr. Vincent Mayanja, Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party. Thank you for coming. Thank you for tuning in. And for sending your message. I've been your host, Edmond. So we'll be back on Monday. Up next, there's that news in English. Do stay tuned.
Let's discuss money, location, and time frame, and whether you plan to build it or